What's up? We got Arrow, Season 5, Episode 19, Dangerous Liaison. Dangerous Liaison. So this episode starts off with the team investigating something. So then we see Oliver. So then we see Oliver in group. So then we see Oliver and the mayor and the press is like, Oliver, did you really know that Adrian Chase was the Throwing Star Killer? And he's like, yeah, Adrian Chase, was really, really on the down low about him being the Throwing Star Killer. So then we see Alena, and she's like, hey, Felicity, there's this guy that's in Argus that totally works for Adrian Chase, so we gotta get him. So Alena totally kills the guy, and Felicity's like, hey, did you just kill the guy? And she's like, it's the only thing she'll be killing. Only person she'll be killing. And she's like, OMG, you just killed the guy. And he's like, yeah, but it'll be the only person. Now, Felicity, you gotta do something for us. And she's like, what? You gotta break our boss, Cayden James, out of jail. And she's like, wait, what? And she's like, Cayden James is the hacker. Before he went to jail, he was working on to use hearts to figure out who people aren't or something. So she basically tells Argus. They're like, hey, someone must have done this. And she's like, hey, your squad is going to be going up against Team Arrow. So she's like, yeah. So he's like, hey, Oliver, let him go. He's like, why? He's like, because Felicity told us to. And he's like, why would she do that? So she's like, hey. Yeah, so she's like, Felicity, you're not working with Helix. And she's like, I'll do anything to get Cayden James out of jail. And if that means working with Cayden, I'll do anything to get Adrian Chase. And if that means working with Helix, then so be it. So Felicity goes to Helix and is like, hey, I'm going to help you get Cayden James out of jail. Da-da-da-da. So Felicity wears this weird eyeshadow. So Renee's like, so Quentin's like, hey, why haven't you spoken to Renee's lawyer friend about getting your daughter Zoe out of jail? Not jail, out of the foster home. Why did I say jail? Out of the foster home. And it's because he's like, because when she was a kid, he was cooking hot soup for her, but then he passed out drunk, and then and she tried to do the soup herself and burned her hand, and he woke up to her crying. And he's like, I'm not a good dad to her. She deserves to be in the foster system. Yeah. So then Renee thinks over and he's like, yeah, I'm going to talk with Curtis's lawyer friend about getting his daughter back. So then we see Zoe and she's like, hey, and he's like, this is Quentin. And he's like, who's that guy? He's like, that's Quentin Lance, or as I call him, Haas. And she's like, yeah, thanks, Haas. I love this Zoe character. I hope she stays on. I hope she stays on. So anyway, yeah. So back with the whole Team Arrow versus Helix. They're like, we could have actually told Felicity to get out of Helix before she had a chance to get into it. And he's like, yeah, but we didn't. We let her go into the dark side. Basically, Star Wars references here with Diggle, and here with Oliver. So yeah. So then we see So Diggle's like, hey, Lila, you crossed the line. And she's like, I thought you weren't going to be like Waller. And she's like, yeah. And he's like, Cayden James is the most evil hacker ever. You really think that I wasn't going to let him stay out of jail? And he's like, no, but obviously we gotta do the right thing here, Lila. Yeah, Lila. We gotta do the right thing here. And, yeah, so Felicity wears this weird eyeshadow as Oliver and the team, bust in. And he's like, hey, put your hand. And he's like, hey. And Diggle's like, hey, I got Felicity's friend. She's like, I got a name, And she's like, hey, turn around. She's like, okay. Do. Cause that thing to turn against Diggle. Kind of like the Felicity's friend joke, but. Yeah. Fire. But yeah, so then they find Cayden James, but he's unseen. We don't see the face. This is a tease to season 6. I know it. So this is a tease to season 6. I know it. This is a tease to season 6. So yeah, so Alena's like, hey, Foot, on a computer. She's like, on like a TV. She's like, hey, Felicity. Cayden James thinks that your connection to Greenhouse scheme is a liability. And she's like, come on, Alena. Once Oliver sees, he'll see that Helix is a good team. But I'm like, Felicity, you've been for Oliver like 4 years now. Do you really think Felicity, do you really think Oliver's going to like Helix? So then we see Oliver and Felicity in the bunker, but then boom, explosion. So I thought this episode was okay. It just wasn't my favorite episode. Felicity against the team was like, ooh, Felicity, she just wants revenge on Billy, so she'll do anything to nail Adrian Chase. And if that means teaming up with Helix, she's gonna do it. And that's kind of my problem with it. Not the problem. We all know that season 4 Felicity was our fever dream. I know I mentioned that every time. It's probably a running joke, but it's probably an annoying joke where everyone's like, stop saying that season 4 is a fever dream. But it obviously was, because obviously, show logic. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was really good. What?